gliding, hear the nightingale sing.
Test, 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 test. Well, well, well. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Hey, thanks. My name is Mike Midlow. I'm the program director at Fishtrap, and tonight is the first night of the 36th Summer Fishtrap gathering of writers and thinkers and doers and talkers and storytellers. I added a lot. Thanks. I especially all of the folks who are here for the week. I hope you've had a good beginning. I heard that I got a text from Madeline Lau, who runs the lodge, that they had a little trouble with dinner tonight. They're going to resolve that if you had an issue. So that's just a little logistic thing. Mostly, what's fun on these evening readings is to see people from the Wallowa County community come and join you all. There are people that are camping at the state park or vacationers. There are folks who live in Joseph and Enterprise and all sorts of places, even Lostine, Kendrick. That's one of the most rewarding things, to be doing all this and to hear people gathering in the evenings. I also want to welcome all of you who are watching at fishtrap.org or on Fishtrap's YouTube channel. It's great to be able to provide an opportunity for you folks too, I'm pointing at the camera, who are watching online, to be able to take in these events as well. These first nights, I like to, we work all year to try to pull this thing off, and I just really want to spend a minute or so acknowledging all of the funders and sponsors, including the National Endowment for the Arts, the Kinsman's Foundation, the Oregon Arts Commission, the Miller Foundation, the Roundhouse Foundation, and of course, our partners like the Wallowa Lake Lodge, who invites us to come each year. EOU, Eastern Oregon University's Masters of Fine Arts program in creative writing. And for those who are in that program and haven't gotten their book from Nick Neely yet, your books are up at the front desk. Okay. I also want to mention a partner that we've had since 1988, since the first Summer Fishtrap, the Book Loft in Enterprise. It's also key to know that all of the book sales, they are giving Fishtrap 20% of all the book sales. So if you're going to buy a book by one of our Summer Fishtrap faculty or some of the participants, do it there, and you're also helping Fishtrap too. Also, the Wallowa County Chamber of Commerce, and if you aren't familiar with Terminal Gravity Brewpub and Enterprise, you should, because they donated these tents out here for us to use this. It's part of the partnership, and what a gift to give us alternative places to write and think. Okay, I want to just talk for a minute about the schedule. All of you folks from the Wallowa County and the public are invited to come here each evening. All the events start at 7:30. For all of you registrants, of course, your writing workshop starts at 9 o'clock. And then in the afternoon, there's a list of activities for you folks who registered. Tomorrow, there's going to be in the afternoon a poet laureate panel. This year, we have 3 poet laureates. As part of our faculty, Kim Stafford, who served as Oregon Poet Laureate, Anis Mojgani, who is the current Oregon Poet Laureate, and Rena Priest, who's the Poet Laureate of Washington State. And they're going to talk, the conversation is being led by Robert Stubblefield, and they're going to talk about what it's like to be a Poet Laureate. So I hope you can come and see this afternoon. Also, some of you might be wondering about the open mic. There's a whiteboard in the lodge. We opened the open mic list at 8 a.m. in the morning in the lodge, and there'll be about 10 spots. So for those of you who are participating in Summer Fish Trap, each afternoon at 4 o'clock we have an open night. Okay, I'll talk about some more stuff a little bit later. But first I want to, of course, each year Summer Fish Trap hinges on a theme since 1988, and this year's theme is generations. Generations in all ways that you can think about. I hope that your conversations, whether you are in a writing workshop or coming to visit from the community, think about it. And to inspire you tonight, we have a couple speakers. The first is Fishtrap's Executive Director, Shannon McNerney. I really like when Shannon gets the opportunity to come up here each year, because the rest of the year she's working on the grants and the foundations and payroll and all of the things. This is one of those times when Shannon really gets to sit back and say, oh, this is why we do this work all year long, and to think about it. So I believe this is Shannon's 8th Summer Fish Trap. So please help me welcome Shannon McNerney.
Look at your faces. It always makes me so happy this first day. So, welcome. I'm going to do a little bit of business, because that's what I'm supposed to do, and it's not payroll or spreadsheets or grants or foundations. It's some thanking some folks. So I want to welcome you to the 36th Summer Fish Trap Gathering of Writers. I'm just curious, who was here at the first? Thank those people, because they're why you're here. So thank you for that. So I'm so happy to see you. You did it. You're here. Now you can sit back and relax and breathe in this remarkable place. And to those of you joining us online, I am just as pleased to welcome you to the second hybrid Summer Fish Trap Gathering of Writers. Was anybody in the first hybrid Summer Fish Trap Gathering of Writers? Thank you very much. Excellent. I hope you're stopping to breathe in your own beautiful place too. So wherever you are joining us from, here or online, let's take a minute and breathe. All right. My job tonight is to set the stage for this week of writing and to give you a little nudge, a little bit of encouragement. And even if you're joining us this week as a listener, my neighbor friends, a lover of good writing and storytelling, I can hope you take away a little of inspiration too. But before I issue, as some of you know, an annual assignment, you always have an assignment from me, I'd like to acknowledge some folks that make this week possible. First off, they don't get enough credit, and I'm going to do it a little bit now. Our amazing Fish Trap staff, Mike Midlow, Jennifer Hobbs, Janice Carper, and Jessica Boglund. If you guys could all wave your hands. Thank you. This is an amazing, dedicated, talented group of people who are here to help your week go better. While they're doing that, maybe thank them. So thanks for that. I also would like to welcome back Cam Scott, who will be on hand to provide a little kid wrangling and cat wrangling for our youth program. So he's back this year. And for the first time, courtesy of EOU and the generosity of this young man, we have an accessibility coordinator on staff for Summer Fish Trap. Russell Ford, can you raise your hand if he's here? Yeah, thank you. Could I ask the members of the Fishtrap board who are here tonight to stand too? There's a few of you I've seen. There's a few. Thank you. There. You will see their faces throughout the week, and I'd also like to thank, of course, our remarkable Fishtrap faculty for taking the time to come and join us again this year. And finally, we have had over 25 volunteers sign up to help us this week, and you're going to see lots of faces, many from the county, many who have long histories with Fishtrap, a few who happen to just be scheduling time here and thought they'd help us out. They make this possible, and I hope you get a chance to meet some new friends there too. So, thanks. So shall we get to it? Let's talk about this theme of generations. And what does it really mean? How is it relevant to a curious, creative life? Are we talking about grandparents and lore, or identity, or trauma? Or is it purely a verb? Go forth and generate. I don't want to know how you, yeah, we'll leave that there. That's your own time. Ultimately, we decided its gift was in its ambiguity itself. It seemed both timely and timeless, defined and amorphous, perfect fodder for creative work when you think about it. How you interpret generations, how you define it, or how you even choose to use it is up to you. So what are you going to do? I'm going to set the bar for you tonight with a view of writing from the Enlightenment philosopher, because why not, Baron de Montesquieu. We all familiar with Baron de Montesquieu? He said, an author is a fool who, not content with boring those who he lives with, insists on boring future generations. So now let's get some writing done. Okay, I kid, I couldn't resist. So it's time to get serious. Let's dig a little bit deeper. Generations is both, as we said, an expansive and a definable word that sometimes means many different things to many people, and at the same time means something to everyone. It crosses language and cultures and even species. So I'm going to start with this definition of generations with an example. This is the definition I found that I love. A body of living beings constituting a single step in the line of descent from an ancestor. How can you use that reference in your work this week? What single step, or maybe flights, will be reflected in the words you choose? Our very selves are made up of the stories and the experiences of countless steps, manifold generations. Those stories contain our ancestors' dreams, their triumphs, and their trauma. And if we're lucky, some of those stories are known to us. They're passed down through ritual and tradition, or journals and photo albums, immigration records, census surveys, military service records, recipes, maybe even relics. Others are seemingly unknown, mysteries hiding in our DNA, right, Jamie? Most of us in this part of the world, if the survey data is correct, don't know much about our own ancestors more than 2 or 3 generations past. What happened? Why were they not able to pass those stories down? How does the unknown impact the lives we live today? These are the stories I look for in my own life. Who are these people who gave me the blonde hair and the short legs? What strange chemistry or genetic amalgamation gave me my love of music, my cliche-breaking sense of direction, my need for nature and sense of humor, my love of beasties and musical theater or a really good Manhattan, or my fears of small, dark places, losing control, or not being seen? Thich Nhat Hanh said, if you look deeply into the palm of your hand, you will see your parents and all generations of your ancestors. All of them are alive in this moment. Each is present in your body. You are the continuation of each of these people. What would all these generations of ancestors think of me now, in this moment? What would they tell me if they could just break through? What are your ancestors telling you? What would you want them to know about your chapter? How's that for a writing prompt? So let's take a look at another definition. Generations as a group of individuals born and living contemporaneously. So what generation do you identify with? Are you a boomer? Are you a millennial? A Gen Z, a Gen X, or are you part of the silent generation? Is your generation seen as the hope for the future, the cause of all of our suffering? The victim of bad decision-making by those who came before, or are you just told to shut up? Maybe you're one of the ignored, disaffected observer who just wishes everyone else would go away and keep quiet. Our media and popular culture love this topic. We love to categorize ourselves, feel seen, different, victimized, special, or part of a group. If our experiences help define us, then there is some truth to these generational traits that come from those shared stories, but seen from a galactic viewpoint, 20-year generations seem kind of silly. Guess which generation I belong to? Just guess quietly and leave me alone. We live with, work with, argue with, love, raise, and mourn with those who were raised in different generations. If we stay open and listen, we learn from them too. That's not a one-way street, by the way, it's a traffic circle. Or as Somerset Maugham said, from the earliest time, the old have rubbed it into the young that they are wiser, and before the young had discovered what nonsense this was, they too were old, and it profited them to carry on the imposture. So I'm going to offer one more definition as fodder for your musings. Generations as a verb, the process of coming or bringing into being. What are you going to generate this week? What risks are you willing to take? What magic are you going to bring into being? What stories, poems, essays, or worlds will come from this generative work? How will you use this place, this time, these people, to let go and release yourself into that generative flow? Here's something from Noam Chomsky. Language is a process of free creation. Its laws and principles are fixed, but the manner in which its principles of generation are used is free and infinitely varied. Even the interpretation and use of words involves a process of free creation. I want to repeat part of that one more time. The manner in which the principles of generation are used is free and infinitely varied. There are no limits. There are no rules. The people you will learn from this week are your guides to that infinite and varied creative world. No matter how or if you're inspired by this year's theme, I hope this generative process is what fuels you in your work this week. This is the reason, by the way, for Summer Fishtrap every year. I know it's what makes this place different. This space we create here together is about bringing your work, your writing, your revelation, your understanding, your inspiration into being. Fishtrap promotes clear thinking and good writing in and about the West. Put another way, Fishtrap creates space for bringing clear thinking and good writing into being, for generating creativity, connection, and community. That applies to everyone here, by the way, not just the writers. Let go and let that generative energy free you to listen in a new way and see where that takes you. Regardless of your ancestral stories, the generation your birth certificate places you in, or which of the free and infinite processes you choose to generate your work this week, remember that we are all in this place and time together. Here's something from Nicholas Carr. What should we call this age we're living in? There are so many choices: the digital age, the information age, the internet age, the computer age, the connected age, the Google age, the emoji age, the cloud age, the smartphone age, the data age, the Facebook age, the robot age, and the post-human age. The more names we pin on it, the more vaporous it seems. If nothing else, it's an age geared to the talents of the brand manager. I'll just call it now. It's assignment time. You ready? In the next week, I challenge you to do the following. First, take time in this place, or if you're joining us online, set time aside to go outside and touch the ground. Look at the sky, breathe deeply, connect with this time, this place, and know that everything you see, smell, and feel is connected to everything that came before and everything still to be. Know that while you're still but one in a long generation of beings, your story, your place in this timeline, it really matters. Second, I've said this before, but I think it bears repeating. Be aware of powerful words. May I suggest you put should on a shelf this week and maybe replace it with one or more of these. will, can, try, create, yes, and maybe even no. Third, I encourage you to connect with someone who doesn't share your generational label. Reach out, ask questions, learn something new from someone who maybe doesn't remember a time without a smartphone or a computer, or from someone whose first telephone had a dial and a really long cord. Remember those? We all have much to learn from each other, and the benefits of learning together as a community are themselves manifold and far-reaching. So take good advantage. And finally, I ask you to join me, the Fishtrap staff, and faculty in creating a brave space for all of us to do this good work together. We're here to write and share stories and poems, yes, but also to take care of each other. So be kind, be brave, pay attention, listen, participate, speak up, take risks, make mistakes, learn, and try something new. I often say to folks that working at Fishtrap is a damned privilege. Here's why. It's a privilege to serve and work with people who care about art, creativity, story, and are infinitely curious, who strive daily to create brave spaces for empathy and connection. It's a privilege to serve writers who constantly strive to do better work, who show their courage through the very act of sitting their butts in a chair and putting pen to a page or cursor to a screen, who are not, if not unafraid, willing to be vulnerable and to open to new ways of creating and sharing their inner world with others. It's a privilege to be surrounded by people who come to be inspired by your words, read your work, and to cheer you on. It's a privilege to get to interact with each and every one of you. It's a privilege and a responsibility to do it here, to be stewards of this place that was and is the homeland and gathering place of the Nimipu, the Umatilla, the Cayuse, and the Walla Walla. You are part of this place now. You will take a piece of it home with you wherever your home is. It will be part of your generational story, your generative writing. It will live in your DNA. You will be forever changed, I promise. One more poem to set you on your way. From Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Ooh, I butchered that. In a house which becomes a home, one hand down and another takes up the heritage of mind and heart, laughter and tears, musings and deeds, love like a carefully loaded ship crosses the gulf between generations. Therefore, we do not neglect the ceremonies of our passage when we wed, when we die, and when we are blessed with a child, when we depart and when we return, when we plant and when we harvest. Let us bring up children, our children. It is not the place of some official to hand to them their heritage. If others impart to our children our knowledge and ideals, they will lose all of us that is wordless and full of wonder. Let us build memories in our children, lest they drag out joyless lives, lest they allow treasures to be lost because they have not been given the keys. We live not by things, but by the meanings of things. It is needful to transmit the passwords from generation to generation. Now it's time. Let's go and get some writing done. Thanks.
Lost my notes. All right. Thank you, Shannon. So our next, to start off this week with a bang, Shannon kind of got us going and flying, and we thought with the theme of generations, our next person up is, one of the co-founders of Fishtrap. We have two of the founders of Fishtrap here today. Rich Wanschneider, there's Rich right there, and Kim Stafford. Plus, a lot of people were on the community committee and helped launch this place 36 years ago. This is the bio that Kim sent to us, and then I have a couple other notes. Kim Stafford is the founding director of the Northwest Writing Institute and co-founder of Fishtrap. He's the author of many books, of poetry and prose, and a former poet laureate of Oregon. There's so much more about Kim Stafford, having him here at Summer Fishtrap, because he is really the spirit of the place for me. Not only has he taught here as an instructor 20 times more over the years, but he is now also, after teaching at Lewis and Clark College for decades, publishing dozens of books, teaching, thousands and thousands of students. He is, I think if you look up lifelong learner on Wikipedia, there's just a picture of Kim, because he, lately, the past few years, he's been registering as a student for Fishtrap programs, for the Outpost program and for Summer Fishtrap, and that's just like, wow, that's it, man. So I just love having Kim around, and I'm just honored to have you be here again this year. So please help me welcome Kim Stafford.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you all for being here. I want to take a breath again. That was a good idea. Let's take a breath, listen to the river, feel how many things we're free from here. We're not driving a car right now. We're not waiting for a phone call. We're not online. We're not inundated with the news. We are under the trees in each other's company. I want to start with the Fishtrap story. I'm wearing a beaded halter here that was made by Maynard White Owl, who taught a beadworking. Well, he didn't really teach. He was just doing beadwork. And we would sit with him, and he would tell stories. There was a lot of laughter. And then in the way of Fishtrap, at a certain point, he began to tell a deep story. And he told us how much he missed his grandmother. And he said he was very young when she died. He was very close to her. And he said, the night after she died, I dreamed that she was in the earth holding me on her chest. And then she took a feather and she swirled up into the sky, and the two of us went flying over the earth. And we came down on a ridge, and arrayed before us were all the ancestors. And they were welcoming us. They were beckoning to us. And my grandmother started toward them, and I started to follow, and she turned around and said, "For you, not yet. You have work to do." And at this point, Maynard began weeping, and we all wept. Because there is that longing to be free of this pain of living and the responsibility and all that we carry. But that's what we're here to do. The ancestors are trusting us to do the work while we're here. So I want to give you some poems from, what I want to say is the way that story came up partway through the week. I think in the workshops and you're writing on your own, try all kinds of things. Humor, memory, imagination, botanical description, and then just see what comes up in this brave place that Shannon has invited us to inhabit. Well, as Mike said, I decided to unencumber myself with the responsibility of being the teacher and go out to the outpost to sit at the feet of a very wise teacher, C. Maureen Furman. And I want to give you some things that came to me out on the prairie. And I'll start with this little poem, Deer Path. Doe goes first, alert, ears forward, forefoot raised. Fawn behind, turning over her shoulder to look back for danger, her own ears reaching for what could come from where they've been. Then they change places. The fawn scampers ahead, her ears forward, the doe behind now, turned toward before. They've done this for generations, attending first to history, then to prophecy. Mother, child, back then, soon. Well, that's what they do, and that's what we do. From the prairie with words, I've brought you this artifact of seeing and wondering. From the past, from the prairie, I've woven a few words to gift you with something seen that might be useful in our future. They tell me that ancient Chinese painters did the same thing. They had compassion for city dwellers who had never seen the mountains. So with their brushes, they brought the wild world into the palace, view by view. Our theme is generations, generative writing, genesis of your voice, generosity of your fellow writers, genuine sensation, your own genius for our gentle passage on the earth. My father came here to share his poetry. Our son came here to run wild in the youth program and then to settle under a tree and write. Each of us is here to be busy in the work of honoring ancestors, learning with contemporaries, and composing gifts for descendants. Seed, stem, bud, blossom, seed again. What I would like to give you by way of entrance into our week together is a series of poems that came up from the ground, through my body, and flowed out onto the page by my pen's fingertip at the Fishtrap Outpost program on the Zumwalt Prairie, about half a horizon to the northeast of here. That prairie is a place so beautiful. When I first walked up onto the ridge at sunset, I wept with wonder. All my fear of death fell away. I don't know how to explain it except by reading you a few of the poems that appeared on my pages there. Our teacher was the generous genius C. Marie Furman, who told us over and over, can you feel it? The prairie is so happy that you're here. The prairie wants your feet on this ground, wants you to get lost in it, wants you to be singing. Speak for the prairie, speak for your ancestors. Let's start by all howling together. Now, on my way to that first day of the outpost, I was driving into the county, over the Minam summit and down, into the canyon as storm clouds gathered, lovely black-gray clouds filling the sky. And on all the hills, syringa, the shrub some call mock orange, was bursting into blossom. As I drove, I struggled to keep driving because syringa wanted me. Syringa. Glowering sky, gray horizon, swept by skirts of walking rain, storm-fat clouds, and everywhere humps of fragrant flowers, of syringa aching up from hills, syringa bushing thick in ravines, syringa wanting you pulled from cars, wanting you breathless, gone from roads, syringa fertile with blossom nipples on every twig that want your face buried wet in scent, want your damp feet sunk in earth, your hair hatted with rain, want you released from human, want your mind blurred, your tingled skin come home to your senses, too long starved, your thirsted tongue drenched at last by syringa petals, dressed in rain to get you carried away. For the outpost, we gathered at Fishtrap's great new space on East Main, high ceilings, expansive welcome, and soon we were driving the ever slower, rough road out east to the Zumwalt, where we would camp for a week and write in the wise care of C. Marie. Beauty so intense, you shield your gaze. Desert paintbrush shows no mercy, ravishing, smoldering your eyes. Come to your knees to receive it. See how stems peg color to earth where prairie flowers, wild in their differences, are loyal in their fit. Lupin, crazy blue, yarrow, dusky, shy pink on scattered farewell to spring. Each flower whispers fragrance to court small wings, tiny tongues. From every twig, leaves offer gestures of forgiveness to this wounded world. Plants gather strands for our basket, and prairie hills weave them all together. In this place, each pilgrim's goal is to be lost in wonder, and with all flowers softly howl. At sunset with C. Marie, we howled. We talked about how this place had been stolen from Nez Perce people, the Nimipu. We talked about continuing cruelties of all kinds, of wounding. Then we decided, by her wisdom, to acknowledge wrongs committed over time, but in our time together, to make mistakes and forgive each other. Maybe you know that Oregon state bird is one now rare in many places, the western meadowlark. This bird was chosen in 1927 when the children of Oregon voted from a list and loved this one most. Seldom heard in many of its former haunts on the Zumwalt Prairie, its magic song was abundant. Meadowlark teaches how to weave songs. Gather from willows what is pliant and strong. Lift root threads from soft earth. Crush color from yellow flowers and red dust. Then take notes from water and twist them inside out. Twine strands of scent released by grass when wind comes combing for dew, and lay them one over another so they sing together what wind taught them from afar. Never worry what is intricate can't be true. Would summer lie about that? All that is broken, scattered, almost lost, bring it into harmony to heal all harm. Then find one stone to sing from, a twig or wire, so with tongue and breath show how wounds and violations can become this winsome prairie song. At our outpost camp out on the prairie, we slept in tents, woke to the mysterious winnowing sound the birds called Wilson snipe make as they fall from the sky. Coffee, camp cooks, Emily and Kelsey's wonders, then a wander on the prairie, where our resident naturalist, Janet Holman, would bring us to our knees around a flower to know something of its story. We grew intimate with lupin, yarrow, stonecrop, the wispy seed called prairie smoke, fragile petals of farewell to spring. And in this spirit, I imagined some primordial spirit figure naming plants in dream time. On her prairie finding names. In her dark time before, she walked forth at dawn to gather names for every rooted being, dressing hills and swales in blankets of magnificence. She met little flag of peace with leaves almost too small to see. She met water's daughter embroidering a seep. She reached down to caress spotted light and shadow where it climbed from crevice and seam. She met vision nest flowering in abundance. She met solitary sunrise cup. Nodding stems of stand in honor brushed her ankles as dew fell from buds of songmouth blossoms in thickets she pushed through. Leaves of learned from young moon held pollen light as she turned for home freighted with joy. One morning, as we prepared for our conversation, someone noticed a yellow swallowtail butterfly drying her wings, and Janet said she must have just emerged from her winter chrysalis. You know, this is what happens at a place like Outpost or Fishtrap. Someone just says something casually, and winter chrysalis. Wait a minute. I've just been assigned to figure out what that's all about. You know, some assignments will come from your teacher, some from passing conversation. Winter chrysalis, the phrase took hold in my mind, and I began to imagine the wild sensation of dissolving from caterpillar to become a winged being. As class began and C. Marie spoke, I had to jot on my page, "In your chrysalis for winter." In that pain you feel, nagging at your back, young wings begin to clench for opening. Aches you have lived with, churning at heart and bone, are melting you toward utter change. You will slough from what was precious, who you thought you were, how you believed this life had to be, and destroy yourself to become lost, split, nameless, no longer pedestrian, but now broken into holy being. That's what happened on the prairie. I was broken to be healed. C. Marie asked us to write a letter to the prairie, a letter to our descendants. She asked us to try writing without the clutter of the articles, the, a, and an. She asked us to know our clear intent, to be a voice for the prairie. Words beautiful as birdsong. From your mouth come flowers. From where you can't see, spill colors, chanting your heart song. Fearless. From that wild place you rooted, feathered, and sang. Your circle song concentric. From your bone spell, your stone ritual, your seed ceremony. You speak pollen and scent from dawn's delight to dusk. No one can say when you trust budding, blossoming, becoming spirit revealed as from your mouth come flowers. I've loved teaching at Fishtrap, many summers in camp and twice at the outpost, but I have to say it was a rare joy to be C. Marie's student, to sit at her feet, a happy child, to close my mouth for once and listen, simply listen, to slip into a trance at any point as needed and write. All of you who are students this week, I say, revel in your fortune. This is a time to try wild things in safety. You are what Fishtrap is for. I went to the Zumwalt Prairie for Outpost for a week in June, but when I returned to the city, I could not stop writing about the prairie. My journey did not end with my return to town. This is a warning. This may happen to you. Maybe I didn't return, in fact. Maybe your week at Fishtrap will start you on something portable beyond our time together. Your voice wakened, your courage empowered, your sense of being one with a guild of writers, a circle of goodwill, a calling from the wild. Letter to those younger than my youngest. Something I need to tell you caused me to climb the ridge to peak. In pine shade there, old tree, where I rested to gather thought as grasses gathered around me, bending with grace I need. Help me tell old truths that almost can't be said. But grasses must do what they do, and I say what I say. We loved earth, but not in right ways. We loved what earth gave us, but not how we might give kindness back. For comfort we burned sky, for ease we poisoned rivers, for greed we made war, for fear we made war. Because we knew not better ways to lead, we made war. We made war against each other and earth. Mountains in all their splendor could not stop us. Prairies at first light calling us with green and gold could not stop us. Butterflies landing on fingertips of our youngest could not stop us. Sometimes it all seems impossible. Some say simply, we will die. I say, with some others, we will die trying. For I am old but not gone. I am only one, but my love for you I will make peace, first in myself, then in my place, then with others, so we may let earth offer you youngest prairies at first light. We prairie keepers, mountain keepers, river keepers, dreamers with calloused hands. Pine shine morning fine, clean river, water giver, people's need, rooted seed, steady stone, mountain's bone, hawks fly, open sky, bird sings, heart rings, elder old, story told. Singing before you are born, singing before your first words, singing as you earn honor, singing as you climb ridges to peak, as you rest in pine shade, as grace of swaying grasses sings you this. I started by telling you about the fawn and the doe. I want to end with them again. For before they started up the hill to disappear, on the prairie they stood together in a kind of magic spell. The fawn under the doe's belly, in a house of safety, where she could turn, gaze, suckle, then be still. She had everything there. By attending to our generations, by being brave and curious together, and by writing, let's make a house for readers like this, Fawn House. 4 stiff legs of doe make home, where milk flows and safety dwells, where little one pressing warm back to roof belly drinks, stretches, gazes forth across gold grass sunrise has arrayed forever, for prancing, sniffing, nipping, hiding, sleeping. Danger waits in all directions, but at her center, this. Now we're going to hear from Janice Carper. Thank you.
Wow, I don't know how to follow that, but when Kim asks you to play a song, you play a song. The particular song that I wrote when a songwriter that many of us are familiar with, John Prine, when he passed away, I wrote this song. Thank you so much, Kim, for that wonderful, it makes me want to go right out to the prairie right now. Let me see if I can get this. The day we lost John Prine, we're all at home just crying. Virus took him down, there ain't no way around. The day we lost John Prine. The day we lost John Prine. get it. Something, I know, I can't think of it. The day we lost John Prine. Oh, the quarantine. No, it ain't no joke, just roll another smoke. The day we lost John Prine. Made him an angel, now he's gone. The day we lost John Prine, I thought I'd lose my mind. Vodka, ginger ale, full moon, pink and pale. The day we lost John Prine. Made him an angel, now he's gone. Made him an angel, now he's gone. Thank you. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you.
All righty. Are y'all feeling inspired now? Jeez. We're going to get some writing done this week. I want you to know that each night after the readings, meet the authors in the lodge. There's a beautiful display of Kim Stafford books in there. Talk to Kim, buy a book, have him sign it. And
Can I say one thing about that? We'll know that Fishtrap's a success when we see those tablecloths empty of books.
yeah, and tomorrow night's readings are not to be missed either. It's Janae Brownwood, Deborah Magpie Erling, and Jamie Ford. So that'll be great. One more thing before we go. Shannon talked about this a little bit this afternoon, but for those who are coming from the community, Fishtrap has this program called the Fish Trapper program, and for as little as $5 a month that you give to us, I mean, there are a lot of cool benefits, and it really helps Fishtrap become this wonderful and experience and continue to do things. So take a look at the Fish Trapper program at fishtrap.org or ask anybody. And then I think the last thing we're going to do tonight is talk about the raffle that's going on all week, and that is for the Fish Trapper folks. So Jennifer Hobbs, who is our development coordinator, manager, come on up, Jennifer, and then we'll be done.
So hello everybody, we have a blue ticket raffle that's happening, and you can see the packages when you walk in, and there's one more that's probably going to be added. We have a silent auction, and then we have the Fish Trapper daily drawings. So if you're a fish trapper, and if you don't know what that is, I can give you more information. Come find me, or Shannon can, or Mike can, or Janice can, or you can look online. But they're sustaining donations that you make each month, and it can be as little as $5 a month. And what we're trying to do is hit the $3,000 mark so that we can say the Fish Trapper program is holding these spaces. That's about what it costs, $3,000 a month to hold this space, to hold the Bowlby building. And so you're making space for magic if you're a fish trapper. And for all you fish trappers, thank you very much. For all you people who want to enter the raffle, there's really great donations from our local businesses. We just had an outpouring of love. So let's keep the love flowing and keep going. And I need somebody to draw for today's Fish Trapper. The way it works is if you are a fish trapper, you have a purple ticket. They look like this. And if you're a fish trapper, you ask for a purple ticket. You put in one ticket, and all week long we're going to draw from it. Each night there's prizes, and then on Saturday night it's the big prize, the big kahuna, which is the free registration for 2024. for the workshop of your choice. So, I need somebody to draw. Mike, you want to do that? Okay. Okay, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. And you need not be present to win, so we'll see. We have glasses. Cheryl Fullerton.
Is Cheryl here?
Is she here?
Yeah, right there.
All right. She is getting one of our new swag hats. She's getting a headlamp, and she's getting a gift certificate to the Great Glacier Grill for Cobbler.
All right, everybody, and remember the participants, if you want to do Sunrise with Craig Childs, it's at 6:20 tomorrow morning. That away, follow the sound of the flute, and we'll hope to see you all again tomorrow night.